name is Faith Johnson, and this is Christ in Fashion. What a wonderful world of creatives we live in. God gave us such talent to bring him glory. With this in mind, we can't be shy about our gifts. Today, I speak with stylist, Style Necessity. Style Necessity.
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Our Instagram fashion beauty extraordinaire.
Thank you.
And so tell me about your personal brand.
Yeah, so my brand is Style Necessity, and I'm a fashion, beauty and travel influencer. And the whole slogan of my brand is, I believe everyone can look stylish. So that's kind of what I try to portray from different angles, from luxury brands to your everyday kind of brand to lower level brands.
So like high street, luxury, ready to wear.
Yes.
And so how have you found working with the different tier of brands within fashion, and what has been some of your favorites?
I think for me within fashion, it depends on what kind of brand really. Some brands are very specific about what influencers they want to work with, and some are very like, yeah, sure, we'll work with everybody. So it's just having accessibility to everything across the range. So recently I actually worked with Karl Lagerfeld.
Wow.
That was like a massive, yes.
Wow,
That
congratulations.
Thank you. That was a massive breakthrough for me. And
That's amazing.
Yes, I've also worked with DKNY as well. So these are like big brands that...
What were they like?
They're very, very nice, very approachable. The pieces I got gifted or received from these brands were actually like pieces that I would normally not spend that amount of money on, which some people will, which is great for them. But yeah, so you can see from the quality that it's just top notch.
Okay.
Yeah. Not taking away from the high street brands as well. Their stuff is actually good quality as well. So it just depends. So what I'm wearing now, for example, majority of it is high street, and you can make it look as dressy as you want it to be.
Yeah. And how have you found kind of working within fashion, specifically within the influencer space? And so, you know, as the industry kind of was interjected with the whole, you know, influencers and social media, it's really changed how people interact with clothing and how brands are now trying to market their collections. And so how have you found kind of being an influencer, and how has it been for you?
Yeah, so being honest, I actually didn't start off in fashion. I actually started out in the corporate world, and I still do work in the corporate world. I'm a chartered secretary by profession.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, brains and beauty.
Thank you. I'm a chartered secretary by profession, and I work in the financial industry. So it's working with cutthroat people all the time. And I had a few friends when we graduated many moons ago who actually went straight for fashion. That wasn't really, I was just ready to climb that corporate ladder with everything I got. And those friends actually got into fashion before Instagram kicked in, before social media kicked in. And then they stepped back and they had that traditional fashion mindset. Then I kind of joined fashion when it kicked in. So it's quite interesting having conversations with them about how the old school versus the new school. I think there's different perspectives and perceptions with influencers within the industry.
That's true.
You have the old school views who are very like, oh God, these influencers have come and they've just made it not what it was meant to be. Yeah, and you have the new school people who kind of just made it very accessible. And I think that's one thing I've loved. Yeah, I've loved throughout, you know, when I've joined fashion seriously in the last 6 years, just being a part of that transition and just being able to work with different brands and different people. So it's quite nice.
When did you see kind of your personal brand really take off? And what do you feel it was that kind of saw your social media platform grow to what it is today?
Yeah, so I also started out styling. So I didn't start out as an influencer. And where I think as a business, you have to be adaptable because different circumstances kind of lead you to different places and opportunities. So when I started out styling, I actually started out styling big influencers. And I saw the benefits of actually having that platform to influence, to be able to kind of showcase what your thoughts are on fashion or beauty, and also having people engage with you and follow you because they like what you're doing. And it was that kind of opportunity of styling those influencers that opened the doors for me to actually become an influencer. And it was kind of at that moment that I started going towards
that
influencing.
direction.
Yeah.
And so how have you felt and dealt with kind of strong personalities within the industry?
Yes.
And what's it been like? You laugh.
Yes, I think it's quite. I'll come at that question from a styling perspective.
Yeah.
So, from a styling perspective, it's quite interesting when you're styling strong personalities, people who want to have a stylist on set, but they don't want to take your styling advice or suggestions. You kind of give them options and you just say, explain why you think this will be a good idea or choice for them to wear, or the theme for the shoot. It just depends. So for me, it's just persuasion really, and trying to see things from their perspective, but also trying to push across, what you think will look best on them. And if they don't want it, you just say, okay, that's
okay, fair enough, yeah. And so how have you kind of got that balance between your kind of faith and your kind of roots and Christian values as being an influencer, stylist, working in fashion, working with brands, and how has it been for you kind of navigating those two?
I think, first of all, you just have to know who you are. I think that's very important for me, just knowing who you are and knowing what works best for you. And obviously, there's so many brands out there, not everything's going to work for everyone. So just kind of staying true to yourself, knowing who you are and saying, okay, this, for example, some of the brands will have certain collections, maybe spring, summer, certain trends will pop up and you're like, okay, I'll stay away from the neon. It doesn't really work for me. Or I'll stay away from the ripped jeans, like the extreme ripped jeans, not really my kettle of fish. So just kind of knowing who you are and just being true to who you are.
And so kind of for your personal brand and for your platform, kind of where do you see it going over the next few years?
For me, over the next few years, I mean, I've noticed in the industry, in the fashion industry, I don't, maybe I might be wrong, but I haven't come across in the UK a lot of influencers who are black influencers or what's it called, BAME influencers who are kind of in that luxury space. And I think there's a bit of a gap in the market in that sense. So I'm hoping in the next 5 years that's something I can achieve. Hopefully I've started achieving that, but that's something that I like to achieve. Obviously not taking away from the brands that, you know, are high street brands, but just being...
There's a space for you and women like yourself.
Hey, what's up, dudes? Where you guys at? I'm at the skate park. Just learned blunt slides. Come and check it out. Let's get it done.
The ability to influence, to move, to change, to impact. The influencer, the modern day star. Likes, shares, followers. But what does it actually take to be a true influencer? Introducing King's Chat. We see them every day, telling us what they like, where they are, what they ate. But is this really the power to change? The power to move? The power to create? Shift. Shift to a platform that unleashes that power. The power to translate likes and comments to conversations, conversations to ideas, ideas to inspiration, and inspiration to change. Shift to a platform that propels the power to change, the power to be a true influencer. Shift to King's Chat. The King's Chat app is available on Apple and Google Play Store. For more information, please visit kingschat.online.
So how do you feel the Holy Spirit kind of guides you creatively and through your creative process?
Holy Spirit is just amazing. Like, all kinds of amazing. It's just been moments where when I started out styling and people actually said to me, do you know what, you should be a stylist. I actually was just sitting here minding my business and picking fashion pieces that I thought looks cool and I'll wear them to work. And people, a few friends actually said, you should think about this seriously. And I was like, oh, I don't know. They're like, think about it, you know. You've got really nice styles. Oh, thank you. So I started personal shopping and styling, and there were times where you're kind of doing everything that you should be doing, but the clients weren't coming in. We're talking about 5, 6 years ago, and the clients weren't coming in. And you're just like, okay, God, what's going on? Like, I'm doing everything. Why isn't it taking off? And then on my way to work, you kind of get stopped by someone saying, oh, actually, I like what you're wearing. And it's like a little sign that God kind of gives you along the way to say, to say, I'm with you. Just, you know, just keep on going. I'm with you. Just trust the journey. So I think God's hand is kind of evident.
Life,
yeah.
And so how have you been able to, or have you ever shared your faith within the workplace and within the industry and with different people within this space?
Within the industry, fashion industry, not particularly, because most of my stuff happens online. I mean, I do put a few Lecrae posts up on my stories or songs I'm listening to. And in as much as I'm a Christian, I actually do have on my bio a Bible verse on there, which kind of shows that you are appointed. I'm not here because I choose to be here. God has put me on there. So that's in my bio, very clear and evident for everyone to see. I feel it's important to kind of make a stance, and that's what I did when I put that Bible verse in my bio.
And how have you dealt with discouragement?
Oh gosh, I'm not one who sits and dwells on things for very long. So if something happens, I'll just like, okay, fine, this hasn't happened. And I just move on and just keep on pushing and keep on knocking on those doors for some of those brands as well. Because if you want to work with certain brands, you have to be proactive. Sometimes you can't just sit around waiting, oh, one day Gucci and Chanel are going to call me. You have to reach out to them as well. And a lot of brands actually sometimes do say no, just purely for whatever reason they say no. But I'm a bit persistent. I keep going back.
Which is great. And so through that, you've been able to see some breakthroughs and some success. And it's been amazing. What inspired you to get into fashion? So you've spoken about styling, and you've spoken about kind of your journey through styling into your page and being an influencer, and kind of what really inspired you before even becoming a stylist?
I don't think anything really inspired me. I think it was more based on what people kind of said, and I just listened. And you know, when they say someone says something and somebody else says something, you take it as confirmation. So I was like, okay, well, maybe there is something here. Let's just check it out. So I think it was a bit more being inquisitive and just, oh, okay, let's see what, maybe something will happen here.
Let's test it out. Let's try it and kind of see how it goes. And from there, it's grown. And now, you know, working with the brands that you've been working with, it's kind of developed into what it is today. And so kind of with the move of technology, how do you feel the role of what technology will play within the space that you're in?
I think it's very important, especially now with the pandemic. I think it's so important that brands actually look into influencers, because we've always been on that digital space. And now that the stores are closed and everyone's in lockdown, they're even looking to influencers a lot more. So I think it's a really good and exciting time to be an influencer, to have that platform, to be able to share new brands and new discoveries with your followers.
And what do you think, or what do you think people would, you know, for myself, if somebody was like, oh, influencer and kind of Christian values, you know, it's probably not something that people would maybe understand or be familiar with. And so, you know, as the generations are changing and kind of the older, getting older, and, you know, the working woman is becoming maturer, and as the millennials become maturer, as we are, you know, how do you feel, and what do you feel God is saying around, you know, influencers and social media? What do you think God is saying about that?
I think the word that you said, when you asked that question, I think the word that comes to mind is unity. Unity comes to mind. I think social media influencers get a lot of bad stigma for what I don't understand why, for whatever reason.
It's like, oh, it's frivolous. It's, you know, and it's like, no, actually, brands are selling their brand. They make lots of their turnover from that specific strategy of working with influencers. And getting their products out there. So it's a really serious business to be in.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it creates a lot of brand awareness, as you said, also sales. And I think just having that opportunity to connect with people on the social media space, no matter what age they are. So you have our parents' generations who actually were on Facebook and now they're moving to Instagram. So just connecting all ages.
I know, even my mom, I'm like, why are you on social media? That's right.
It's just connecting people of all ages and the different kinds of influencers as well. As I said, on fashion, beauty, travel, you have the mom bloggers that are there as well. So there's
cleaning, interior.
Exactly.
That's true.
So there's so much for everyone. I think it's just something that's so broad that it can connect so many people.
Tell us about a time where you felt you experienced supernatural favour.
Oh gosh, yeah, that was very recent.
Oh wow.
So there's been a lot of beauty brands that I've been trying to reach out to, or a few brands I've been trying to reach out to. So as you know, we're in like kind of like a pandemic, so we haven't been going into the office, and I do apologise if any of my work colleagues are watching this. We haven't been going into the office, and I'm just thinking about my life in terms of how much time you have, just the time to commute from where you live to work. That is actually taking up a lot of time, and I actually thank God for freeing up that time in these times. Obviously, it's been a bit of a difficult time for everyone of us, but also kind of looking.
Well, you can repurpose that time
exactly
and invest in yourself and what you want to do.
Exactly, and that's when I actually had the time and opportunity to start reaching out to quite a lot of the beauty brands that I've always wanted to work with, and I started that crusade early last year, and I just kept reaching out to a number of them, and it was oh hi, yeah, sure, we'll get in touch, and as I said, I'm persistent. I just kept going back, and I just casually just sent them a message or an email around October, September last year, just saying, see guys, I'm going to be showcasing Christmas gift guides to my followers. I was not expecting, when you say I'm just going to send out the 50 emails and I'm sure maybe 2 will respond if I'm lucky. And I was overwhelmed by the responses I got. I think I got out of 50, I think I got like 40 people like, yeah, we'll send stuff to you. And I was just like, when you spend your whole week like responding to people and you're just like, oh my God, I'm so tired. But it was just a breakthrough moment for me because I was trying to build relationships with these brands. Excuse me. Oh yeah. Gosh. Sorry.
That's okay.
I was trying to build relationships with these brands all year, and it was just like God just did something and breakthrough happened and just so many responses coming back. So it's actually been really, really nice to see God's hand and doors being open.
Do you feel you're fulfilling God's purpose for your life?
I feel so. So when I actually just used to do my corporate job, I felt like something was missing. I always felt like something was missing. I didn't particularly like my job, even though God blessed me with really great opportunities and companies to work with, but I just thought something is missing. And the minute I started fashion, I actually feel so fulfilled, so blessed, so balanced. And I just feel like I'm where I should be. And it actually makes me love my day job a lot.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow. And so what would you feel one of your biggest challenges has been?
I think just not trusting enough, I would say, trusting God enough along the way. Just kind of, okay, well, this hasn't happened. Why isn't it happening kind of thing. And every time God shows me, I'm with you, just keep at it. But it's just that lack of trust sometimes where you keep going back to the drawing board and saying to God, what's going on? So I think...
What would you say the kind of top 3 main tips are for engaging with your audience?
I would say try to show your personality. Actually, these tips, so before I get there, can I just say that I was just like a normal influencer minding my business one day, and I got an email, which I missed, and I got another email, and the email was from Instagram themselves, and they were like, oh, we'd like to have a call with you. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
And I was just like, okay, whatever.
Wow.
You know, you check the email to make sure it's not a spam. And I saw, okay, I thought, okay, I'll schedule a call. And Instagram reached out to me and they said, you know, you're doing a great job, keep doing a good job. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know what I was doing.
Really?
Yeah, so I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, oh, okay, then great. I'll keep on doing what I'm doing. So it's been a privilege actually working hand in hand with Instagram, because they kind of guide you and say things you need to do. So one of the things I need to do now is show a bit more of my personality. That's one tip for engaging. Another tip for engaging is just be interesting. I know it's quite challenging in these times in the pandemic to be interesting, because normally your average influencer, average influencer will travel or do something. But just get as creative as possible, and also the third tip is try to find out a bit more about your followers, because a lot of them it's a two-way conversation, isn't it? It's not just you telling them about yourself all the time. You know, it'll be nice to know what they like as well.
And so, in terms of your kind of career, where do you see your personal career going over the next few years?
Oh gosh, I actually don't know, because I'm just rolling with wherever God leads me, and just being able to celebrate the wins along the way, and just being grateful for the journey so far in itself is just something that I'm really grateful for, just being in that moment and being in the present, but also, as you said, having kind of a realistic goal of what you want to achieve in the future. So I don't know what that goal is yet. But I think it's just working with more brands and continue influencing as much as I possibly can.
And how do you feel God has really been able to use the influence and platform that you have?
I think he's been able to use it because a lot of people would refer to me as shy. I don't think I'm shy. I'm just maybe a bit reserved sometimes, but not shy. But a lot of people who actually personally know me say to me, when we see your pictures, you're very bold and confident. So I think it's just drawing out that spirit of boldness and just going in there and giving it all that you've got.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
It's been such a pleasure having you.
And
we look forward to seeing your platform growing to millions upon millions upon millions.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
It is important for us to identify boldly as a Christian. Even in the fashion world, the Bible tells us that if we are ashamed of him on earth, he will be ashamed of us in heaven. So whether you're a model, stylist, entertainer, designer, or whatever, live unapologetically for Christ. That's it from me. Tune in next time for next episode of Christ in Fashion.